נשמרה במבורך, לעולם עולם מהמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קודשה בריחו, לילה מן כה ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעמם, והימרו Amen.
We rise for our Baruch Hu, our call to prayer, on page 146. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. I was inspired by the text on the next page, our text of an alternate reading for our prayer, Mariv Aravim, which says, "This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light." Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my sibling, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light and dark, wondering what lies before us. Shall we draw back, or shall we cross over? Baruch atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim. On our next page, Ahavat Olam B'Etz Yisrael Amcha Havta, Torah Mitzvot Chokim Mishpatim Otanu Limadta. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and Mitzvot, law and precepts. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and in doing so, lengthen our days. Al tasir mimenu leolamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, God, who loves your people, Israel.
Page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Our section ends, Moshe Miriam uvnei Yisrael, Nachash anu shira, b'simcha rabah v'amru uchulam, which ends, Moses, Miriam, and all of Israel sang together, lifting their voices joyously. And I want to pause for a second because this is, all of this, all the way through Michamocha, is part of our recitation of the Shema. We're saying one long section of the service, and it culminates in Michamocha, in redemption, a mixture of a song of the sea, we read from the Torah in Exodus 15, and this blessing about the redemption of Israel. I've been thinking about that a lot this week, as 50 members of our community in Israel are in the process of returning home from Gaza in peace. And for 7 weeks, we've been singing about their liberation. And it's a watershed moment to have these kidnapped hostages be freed, be returned to their families, and the journey ahead of them is not easy. There's a desert ahead. We know some of the challenges they face in macro. We have faced in micro. The world which they're returning to has drastically changed. Some of them are going home to find loved ones no longer there, their homes burned down, their communities devastated. And I don't even know all the challenges that they might face, but I do know that hope, prayer, redemption, love, and a commitment to stand by community through the days, months, and years ahead is a key part of what our tradition can offer. We can offer them, and in exchange, we offer ourselves as well. Hamakom yirachem aleichem. May God's presence bring consolation to them, bring consolation to all, now and in the coming days, and let us sing a song of freedom.
Page 158.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele. Nora tehilot osefele, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, okeyam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam alai zei anu ve'amru Adonai imlo le'olam va'ed. Yaidai, 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 yaidai,
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני Ga'al Yisrael.
Blessed are you, God, Redeemer of Israel.
Page 160. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ushmor tzitenu uvoenu lechayim ushalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ushmor tzitenu uvoenu lechayim ushalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. And join us on page 162. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, לדורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We begin our service where we stand before God, our Tefilat Amidah, as we turn to page 164 and we rise and face Jerusalem.
We'll sing the first prayer together and then we'll continue silently. Adonai,
Sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha.
Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
יהי רצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו, אמרו, Amen. At this point in our service, we pause for a prayer for healing in our community. A prayer, again, I think the shortest prayer in all of Torah, the prayer of Moses for healing from God. And I want to ask if there's anyone here you may be thinking of who is in need of healing, healing of body, healing of mind, healing of spirit. I want to invite you to say their name aloud as my eyes go around the room.
Chris Provencher and Stephen Cohen. Rina Bat into Brina and Moshe, David, and
Kevin Fisher Paulson.
Alfreda Mastman, Gail Frankel, Scott Van Gundy, Daphne Talmor, Dave Stahl, Greg Herb, Margaret McGuan, Carol Rosenberg, Diane Siegel, Lorene Jacobs, Batya Peters, Scott Alberts, Rich Zabridger, Sandra Goldberger, Elise Musin, Kevin Pringle, Ulrich Dennis, Adam Murad, Ruth Murad, Judy Sutton, Nadia Fachanova, Bob Schill, Ellen Kashik, David Tuttleman, Herschel Richter, Carl Burns, Richard Ravitch, Bernice Paris, Hank Rubright.
Ana elna, Ana elna, Ana elna, Ana elna, Ana elna refanala. Oh, Ana elna refanala. Oh, Ana elna refanala. Oh, Ana elna refanala. Oh, Ana elna. Ana elna. Ana elna. Ana elna. Ana elna refanala. Oh, Ana elna refanala. Oh, Ana elna refanala. Oh, Ana elna refanala. Oh, Ana elna. Ana elna. Ana elna. Ana elna. We say as well, Mishaber Chavatenu, Vimotenu, Avraham Yitzhak Yaakov, Sarah Rivka, Rachel Leah. Who Yishmor V'Netzor, who protect and guard the captives in Israel, keeping them safe from all harm, rescuing them from any trouble or distress. May God send blessing. May God send success to every effort. May God redeem them, and together we all say with Israel, Amen. So, Shabbat Shalom. Should I stand for this? Should we stand? Let's all stand. I want to actually encourage us to turn to, I think it's 143 in our Siddur. I marked it. This is the beginning of our Torah portion this week. It's just, I was flipping, as we were going by it, I was like, hey, just wait a second, there it is. You may want to buckle your seatbelts. We're going to do some Kabbalah here. Oh dear. This week, I was speaking to someone, and I asked them, what should I talk about for Shabbat? And they said, oh my gosh, this is the week. Parshat Vayetzeh, one of the most famous lines in Torah. I was like, oh, which one? They were right, by the way. The portion begins, and you can see it right here, right? Vayetzeh Yaakov mi Beersheva, right? Why am I reading off that, right? Vayelen Sham Kiva Hashemesh. Jacob left Beersheva, and he set out for Charana, which they have added vowels to become Haran. And he came upon a certain place, right? He struck it, or he encountered it. And he stopped there for the night because the sun was setting. And then we have various things happen in the story. Jacob dreams a dream a little dream of God. And there are angels on the ladder. And he wakes up and says, right? Well, let's get there. Achen yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh, ve'anochi lo yadati. Jacob awoke from his sleep and he said, surely, my goodness, God is in this place, and I did not know it. That's the famous line. And then the next one, right? Vayira, vayomer, and he was troubled or in awe, and he said, Manora makom hazeh. How awesome, how dreadful, how purely intense is this place, right? Ein zeh, right? Ki im beit Elohim v'zeh sha'ar hashamayim, right? For this is indeed the house of God, and that is a gate to heaven. Gonna be honest with you. You don't need a rabbi to write a very compelling drash about this section. You could hand this to a first-year rabbinical student, and I have actually seen this done, and they have a field day, right? It's pretty applicable. It's a very easy analogy. God is in this place, and every place. And if you don't know, now you know. Like that's it. But in fact, I see a problem in it. What is this, right? Makom hazeh. This certain place, right? There was the first line, right? Vayifga b'makom hazeh. Vayikam b'makom. He encountered this place, right? It doesn't specify the text what place that was. Where is Jacob when that's happening? Jacob's in the land of Israel. It's actually named after him. And the north, probably, most likely. And what we're reading here, as part of the patriarchs of Genesis, is the beginning of the Jewish relationship to a land, right? To the land of Israel. And it's the beginning stories of an indigenous people of Israel who use their stories actually to become that people, if we're going to be historical about it. But there's a problem about this, which is that for the vast majority of Jewish history, Jews haven't lived in Israel. Whatever makom, whatever place that might have been, we didn't have access to it. So there's the easy answer, like we said earlier, right? Not to worry, God's actually in every place. The problem is really here, when Jacob arises, it's not about God being in that place. It's about Jacob's perception. He doesn't know it. It has nothing to do with the place itself. So that argument, my first-year rabbinical student argument, gets us halfway there. But it doesn't quite feel compelling. And there's a few interesting points in the Hebrew itself which help us understand the line better. I'm serious, by the way, about this. I don't read the Hebrew just to annoy you. I'm going somewhere, right? So we have a great Hasidic Kabbalist named the Baal Shem Tov, who picks this line apart, right? And it's right. Jacob went forth, right? And then it says something very interesting from Beer Sheva. Sheva? Anyone know Sheva? This is a participation sport, really. 7. And a bear, a wellspring. See, the Baal Shem Tov points out something very interesting. The Baal Shem Tov says a person has 7 types of thoughts, or 7 qualities, midot, and they parallel the 7 sefirot, the aspects of God, which happen to be present in this world, and the 3 which are in heaven, in the higher worlds. But 7 are here. So Jacob went forth, the Baal Shem Tov says, or departed, from Beer Sheva, from the 7 well springs, from the 7 aspects of this world. And he went to Harana, right? Now, if you come here in the mornings, we say this blessing. We say, She'asani ben Harana. Have you heard it? She'asani ben or bat chorin, same shoresh, the same word. What does that mean? Free. And the Baal Shem Tov does something very interesting here. Jacob left the 7 thoughts, the 7 qualities of this world, the Beer Sheva, the 7 well springs, and he went free. And he reached, right, Vayivga, b'makom, and he encountered. Does anyone know what the word makom can also mean other than place? It's a name for God. And he dwelt there, and he awoke, and he said, indeed, there is God in this place, and I did not know it. Our Hasidic Kabbalists reinterpret this entire verse to say that Jacob left his plaguing thoughts behind and went free and reached God, which I think is a pretty cool idea. It's also just a tiny bit heretical. It makes me love it all the more. It's a really cool one. And what they've done also is they've divorced the experience of Jacob from time and space, and instead made this about the inner experience of every Jew everywhere and in every time. This portion is a treatise on Jewish meditation, Mazal Tov, and it's about inner liberation. It's about that rare unicorn of Jewish tradition, spirituality. We like to talk about it, we don't always see it. But this view, and brilliant as it may be, and I'm sorry if I bungled it in the delivery, because it is brilliant in the original Hebrew, it hasn't totally taken off. It's not a thing that we talk about all the time. Oh, actually, Jacob was meditating back there. Jews are still attached to holy places, to the land of Israel, and they still ascribe a holiness to the land. God may be in every place, but for many people in the land of Israel, the veil seems just a bit thinner. This is one of the great tensions of Jewish tradition. There are, quite simply, places that feel more holy than others. Even as we talk about Shabbat as a portable sanctuary, have you heard the phrase a palace in time? Have we heard this? That Shabbat is its own sanctuary, unattached to any place. Our tradition grapples with the reality and understanding and acknowledgement that spaces have their own spirituality too. One of the greatest rabbinical commentators of all time, there's Rashi, and there's also another fellow named Ibn Ezra. And Ibn Ezra comments on this verse, and he says, look, the meaning of Jacob's statement is that there are simply places in this world where miracles are seen, where it's holy, and I cannot explain why this is so. Tomorrow evening, after Shabbat, I'm going to Israel for a few days. I'm going to learn, I'm going to volunteer, and I'm going to be an emissary who bears witness on behalf of our community. And I'm also going as an individual to the state, yes, but also to the land of Israel. Because like many Jews, I too find myself pulled by the holy places and spaces in this world. This Shabbat of Parshat Vayetze, with one hand, I ask all of us to think about what it means to find God within, no matter where we are, that it is, in that sense, a kind of liberation. But I also want to encourage us, with the other hand, no less to seek out the spaces in this world in which divinity can be found, to find them, or create them, or simply rest there for a night, if only to awake and say, God was in this place, and I did not know it. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Our services are going to continue on page 587 with Aleinu. And James, would you come and help me open up the ark? I invite you to rise as the ark is opened.
587.
You get the curtain. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לאחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. We continue on page 591. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושם
Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo Echad.
You may be seated.
Before we wrap up, I want to acknowledge that there's sometimes nothing quite so sad as a happy holiday. Holidays such as Thanksgiving can bring us joy, but they also remind us of those whom we love, those who are no longer here to share that day with us. And if you're missing someone tonight, please know you're seen. Please know you're not alone in that feeling. Mourner's Kaddish, I hope, brings their memory back into the present, gives space to acknowledge the holes in our hearts. As I go around the room, I invite you, if you are in the first 7 days of mourning, to please rise, hold their memory close, and share those names with us. If you are in the first 30 days, the period of Shloshim, if you are in the cycle of the first year of mourning, I invite you to rise and share a name.
My sister, Bonnie Epstein.
Thank you. And if tonight you are observing a yard site, I invite you as well to rise and share that name.
My mother, Esther Bernstein, and my father, Samuel Bernstein.
The congregation offers our condolences to Jean Bronstein and to Greg Bronstein, on the death of her husband and his father and our member, Gary Bronstein, and to Adam Kalmus on the death of his mother and our Shir Hadash member, Diane Kalmus. We remember loved ones whom death has recently taken from us: Michael Musin, Ilya Rabinovich, Janessa Schwartz, Bonnie Epstein, Mahin Bahun Sinai, Mark Allen Grubbs, Connie Shine, Rosemary McGuan, Stanley Rich, Sandy Bame, Jerry Levy, Rosalie Berkowitz, Adrian Friedman, Tripp Richardson, Eleanor Hill, Daniel Knipe, Sandra Koff, Yanoroso Benito, Marcille Cunningham, Madeline Salzman, Kevin Scott, Robert Kilgore, Dahlia Schneider, Michael Pleiner, Joyce Levine, Shirley Israel, Thelma Turner, Marilyn Graben, Alan Feigen, Jonah Anschel, Sharon Lowenbrown, Sheila Bamberger, Dr. Grace Deutsch, Clarissa Glotzer, Stephen Bornstein, Richard Kennemer, Ethel Schenker, Varda Satri, Rabbi Tlalit Shavit, Jack Long, Virginia Larson, Miriam Morer, Bob Sturman, Lenora Wang, Adam Richard Spilka, Shlomo Isips, Howard Levine, Barbara Lombard, Claire London, and those who died at this season in years past: Dr. Joseph Sherman, Edward Merkel, Elizabeth Lebenfeld, Gladys Gilmore, Reuben Sperber. And now you can support our community by standing or sitting, joining us with your voices or your hearts for Kaddish Avilim, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 598.
Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei kechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'bizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'mei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal, shmei kudusha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu.
Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen. May the memories of your dear ones always be a blessing in your life, and to all of your loved ones. Yehei zichram baruch. You may be seated. It's my pleasure to invite up Molly to share some announcements with us. I can hold it for her.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I just have a few brief announcements. All of this information that I'm about to tell you, you can find on our website. Tomorrow, the 25th, we're going to have the Shabbat Cafe again in the foyer. That starts at 9 a.m., with Torah study at 9:30 and Shabbat morning service at 10:30. And then Wednesday at 7 p.m., we have a Rabbi Nico is going to be having a conversation with young adults on America, Israel, and anti-Semitism. That's going to be via Zoom. Please register. Thursday, November 30th at 11:30, Nashim with Rabbi Nico, in person and also by Zoom. You can register online. Registration is only required for the lunch, so we know how many people to feed. And then Friday, December 1st, we're back here at 5:30 to do the Sweater Weather Shabbat Shmooze, 6 p.m. Shabbat service, and dinner around 7 p.m. Please register for dinner so we have enough food. And then 5:30, at 5:30 on Friday, we're going to have the 2024 B'nai Mitzvah Family Cohort Shmooze service and dinner. Please register online if you're part of that group. I think I'm part of that group.
No, that's for the
it's for the
kids.
kids, not
The
the
kids, not the adult,
Okay.
not the adult one yet.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yours is coming up too, though.
We're going to add to that two notes. One, Rabbi Nico's program on America, Israel, and anti-Semitism is going to be for the college-aged members of our community. If you are connected to a college-aged, I can't speak English, college-aged member of our community, please feel free to invite them if it's appropriate or relevant to them. And then my class on Jewish bioethics will be briefly postponed by, I believe, 8 days until I return from Israel. With that,
It's our pleasure to invite up Reuben Levy to come and do Kiddush. Kiddush you can find on page 122. Get the microphone.
you put that in the stand and move the stand over here. Ruben, I'm going to move this here for you so you can hold it.
Here, we'll do this, Dad.
And that way you can hold the cup, sir.
Okay,
Okay, so you can hold the cup.
And just keep
got
your come close to the microphone.
okay.
It's right here.
Yeah. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויכול אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות.
Safri.
Sabri,
L'chaim.
L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit Ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh Zecher letziat mitzrayim Ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta Im kol ha'amim
אותנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים. Please join me, actually, our concluding words to our concluding song. Shalom Rav are on page 240.
That's not right.
240 in the black letters, I believe. I checked it in advance. 240 in the black letters.
Or 178 in the bracketed numbers.
Also 350, it's all over the prayer book, you'll find it. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam.
V'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. לעולם.
Always an extra bit of shalom. Go for 3.
In the old days, yes.
So with that, I invite you to gather near your family. And I'm introducing a new phrase tonight, your chosen family. Those who you choose to be near or those who you might not know yet. And if you are here with a child or feeling simply childlike, you can say, Yisimcha Elohim k'Ephraim u'Menashe, or Yisamech Elohim k'Sara Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May God inspire you to be like the loving ancestors of our tradition. And you can say to your child or to each other, Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May you be blessed and guarded. Ye'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the light shine of divinity shine upon your face. Yisa Adonai panav elecha. May God's presence, may God's face be with you always. Vayasem lecha shalom, and may peace always be upon you. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Please join us for Motzi in the foyer.